Good afternoon, Becky.
Good afternoon, Paul.
Hi there. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. You okay?
Yeah, very well, sir. Nice to see you.
Yeah, likewise. So you're working from home at the moment, I presume?
Yes. So I think I'm in work. You know, when you kind of lose track of what the days are, I think I'm on week 4. Does that sound right?
Week 4, yeah. Sounds about
Week
right.
4? Yeah. So week 4, working from my little office at home. So yeah, as long as the broadband holds out, we should be all right.
Oh yeah, you live in the country, don't you? So it can be a bit
Yeah.
iffy.
Yes, definitely. It's been challenging, to put it lightly, and unpredictable. You know, when things just sort of suddenly go down, you think, "Oh no!" But it's been okay. It's definitely been okay. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Oh, well, great for joining me today for a quick chat. So New Leaf, tell me a little bit more, or the people that I know New Leaf very well, but for people that don't, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so New Leaf is a workplace wellbeing business. So we work business to business. We've known you, Paul, for many years. I'm trying to think how many years, but many years. And mainly businesses buy us in to do little pop-up wellbeing clinics. They might buy us in to do counselling for employees. Sometimes we do pop-up wellbeing days. So I'm just thinking, when we come out of all of this, some businesses might want to put on a nice sort of positive wellbeing day for their staff. So that's the sort of thing we would do. And I also do mental health first aid training and mental health training generally. So we're very small. So I'm a sole trader. So I can relate to all that's going on for the self-employed at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I'm a sole trader with associates. So I have associate therapists who work for me and work with our clients. And we've been around since 1992, I have to confess.
Wow, 1992.
Yeah, that's when we actually started the business. Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you had to adapt with the way you normally do things since the pandemic started?
So all our stuff is face-to-face, everything. So trainings face-to-face, you know, our counselling services face-to-face, wellbeing clinics. So for the first 2 weeks, we spent a lot of time making sure all the therapists could work online, because if they weren't set up for that, that was another challenge. And we also had to check all our insurance was all right for people working online. So that took a little while to adjust. And also I wanted to find out which of our courses we could deliver online. So luckily our half-day course, our mental health awareness course, we were allowed to. That's a course that's licensed by Mental Health First Aid England. So it wasn't something I could just go ahead and deliver. I needed their permission. So I managed to get that, which was very good. And but then you see you've got to send out the packs. So everything is taking longer because we have to wait for the post, and we've got to wait for people to receive their materials, and then we can then deliver it. So it did feel a bit clunky. I've been doing lots and lots of free webinars, which has been really great. So all of a sudden people want webinars on mental health and wellbeing. So basically, Paul, whenever I've been asked, I've said yes. You want me to come and deliver a webinar? I'm there. So I've been saying yes to lots of requests, which has been lovely.
Excellent.
So lots of those.
It's a good time to learn new skills, isn't it? Pick things up. Yeah. And a lot of us are scared of technology and how do we do this and what have I done now and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to change the way that we work, isn't it, forever? So we'll be doing a lot more of these face-to-face videos, which is amazing because you get a lot more done.
Well, you do. I mean, I'm a great socialite by nature, so I do struggle to not see people other than through a video screen. So I can't say I'm going, you know, some people say now that they're really looking forward to, you know, if this happened again, it wouldn't be a problem for me. I think, you know, socially connecting with people is so important, and I don't get that same feeling through a video screen. I miss the physical human contact, really. But it's been interesting. Yeah, it's been interesting.
Oh. Yeah, likewise, really, for me. It's like running the networking group and things is just having that face-to-face, and it's only a substitute. But I guess for people who've got, you know, have lots of meetings in their business, it's more convenient and, well, I guess more saves travel time and things. But yeah, there's nothing like the real thing, is there? But
No, I don't think so. No. I don't want this to continue.
No. And one of the things you mentioned was the mental first aiders. What exactly is a mental first aider?
So a mental health first aider, they have to attend a 16-hour course. The course is very in-depth, so it doesn't just touch the surface, it goes into exploring mental health on many levels. And the mental health first aider's job is really to train them to be able to respond in a mental health crisis. So in the workplace, at the moment, I don't know, are you a first aider? Are you a physical first aider, Paul? I wasn't sure if you are. Have you ever done your physical?
Years ago I did for a printing company, but not really.
Okay, so the idea is that you would have mental health first aiders as well as physical health first aiders. And these people would become extremely useful if you had somebody in the business who you could tell was really struggling and they didn't perhaps want to talk to a human resource person, or maybe they didn't have the same relationship with their line manager and didn't feel like they wanted to talk openly. So you could then say, well, maybe you'd like to have a chat with one of our mental health first aiders, so that they're trained in how to respond and kind of how to have difficult conversations with people, and also how to signpost people to help.
Yeah.
So in a time of crisis like it is at the moment, quite a few businesses are using their mental health first aiders to check in on people. So some of them are busy sort of ringing round colleagues and checking that people are all right. But I think crucially, they know how to respond in a crisis. So if someone was having a panic attack or someone was suicidal, they would not only know what to say, but they'd know where that support was, who to ring, and they would have that resource. In fact, my mental health first aid manuals are holding my screen in place. They're very, very chunky manuals.
Okay.
Sadly, we can't run that course online because we kind of, in the training, we take people on a journey, and that journey involves them. They have to look at themselves as well as be able to look at others. And that you have to do face to face, because as a trainer, you've got to kind of gauge, are they okay? Are they not okay? Is this too much for them? So the course in itself is an exploration of their own mental well-being, and also it trains them how to look after themselves. So in a crisis like we're going through, they would know about their own mental well-being and how to look after themselves. So that's really important. And what we do in New Leaf is we don't just train them, we support them afterwards. So unlike other businesses, we make sure they're well resourced and that they've got all the latest information, and we bring them together as a group as well to gain support from each other. So I think it's a really good thing, and I think the course is very well designed to take people through that process. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be back up and running. And we offer a free place on all of the courses that we run for anybody serving or ex-serving in the military, as well as their partner. So that's something to mention. And if somebody is an SME listening to this and they're based in Sedgemoor, we've still got one grant left where we can give them a discounted or possible free place on the course as well. So that was some funding that we received quite a long time ago. But we've trained 149.
Wow, okay.
So really pleased with that, and hopefully more this year.
Yeah, well, that's excellent. I mean, it's great. This is, getting much more focus and importance on mental health, isn't it? Because it's your team, your greatest asset in a business, looking after each other. And I guess it stops people going down a route that's harder to come back out of. So they're more happy, more proactive, and better team member performing, aren't they, really? Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's, you create relationships in the room that are very powerful, and it never ceases to amaze me what actually happens in the training space. Sometimes people become lifelong friends as a result of just being in a room together and going on a journey together where we go beyond, so how are you? We kind of really get to know people. And I always feel very honoured when I deliver one of those courses, because it's a very powerful experience as a trainer as well. So I can't do too many of them because they're quite full on, but when I do them, I really enjoy them as well.
Excellent. And I guess particularly at the moment with lots of us stuck at home, in terms of mental health and looking after ourselves, what kind of tips would you give for people at home and in terms of mental health?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of advice, isn't there, on physical health at the moment, but I think they've kind of left the mental health out. My first tip is going to be, you really need to balance what you're listening to. I think, a lot of people are tuning in every night to listen to the updates from the government. I mean, what we don't see on those slides or statistics are the recovery rates, and we ought to be balancing our media out by listening to the stories of hope, by the stories of positivity that are going on, and they seem to be like little tiny snippets right at the end. But we need to take control of that and say, right, well, today I'm not going to listen to the news update. What I'm going to listen to is some of the hopeful stories and some of the positivity. So I think balancing your media is really, really key. Make sure you tell people how you are. So like we'll sometimes go, all right, and they'll go, all right. Well, rather than just sort of saying, so can I ask how you are? Yeah. And if they go, oh, I'm fine, just say, I'm going to ask you again, because what I notice is you're not looking too good to me, or you don't sound too good. So how are you? Just the confidence to make sure you talk about how you are is important. And I think the other thing is a lot of people are experiencing anxiety. And, you and I were chatting a time ago about sleepless nights. I think a lot of people are struggling with the worries because we're dealing with such a lot, Paul, of the unknown at the moment. And if we can, when you get those very sort of anxious thoughts, the ones that go round and then round and then round, you can encourage people to just, take a moment, take a deep breath, see if they can feel their feet on the floor, see if they can notice themselves breathing, just bringing them into the present moment. Your breathing is a great way of kind of refocusing, and then your thoughts, they will sometimes slow down, or we need to just recognize them, watch them appear, and then just find a way to go back to the breathing to just reconcentrate ourselves. Because our thoughts will always go into catastrophizing quite often. They'll go to the worst case. Yeah. And what we need to do is to just try and bring them back and get that reality back on them. There's some really good techniques. The only thing I'm going to recommend in terms of websites and that is something called Every Mind Matters. And that's a Public Health England website. But if you go on it, they do this really good little quiz, like a sort of self-assessment of how you are. Oh, and I think that is well worth doing. And then they've got a whole sleep section. So they've got mind and then body. And if you go into the body one, you can sort of have a little look at some of the apps that are free to download. And all these have been vetted by Public Health England. So I feel more confident about those that have really. So I would definitely go there. Yeah. And also there's some really nice little things like there's a little coping calendar which gives you something to do every day to help you cope, and I'll let you have a copy, Paul, to post on your site, because I think that's quite useful as well.
Excellent.
But so I think really just stilling the mind at the moment and not believing everything it's telling us is quite important.
Yeah, I resonate with a lot of that. I look quite tired today because I was guilty of looking too much at the news, and say it just puts you down this path of negativity. And it is trying to. And yesterday, when it all kind of kicked off and was working from home, I kind of like I guess a lot of people kind of a bit of a mad panic and what's going to happen. And lots of us do work to routine and structure, and having that uncertainty. And I've had to have a word with myself a few times. And actually, you mentioned the breathing, which is great. I did actually sit in the garden for just half an hour with my eyes closed, the sun on my face, and I felt completely different afterwards. The cat was driving me nuts because she wants some biscuits, but that's another story. But I've also noticed, obviously, with families who've got, children of different ages, of teenagers, it's hard to get them to talk. But I guess opening those lines of communication is important to, like you say.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to talk to you. And you know, we're very fortunate in Somerset. We've got the Mind helpline, and they've just extended their hours. They're 24 hours now. So I would definitely recommend giving them a ring, and perhaps we can put their phone number as well under this video so that people can feel that they've got that line of support. Because you don't always want to talk to your family, you know, or your family are relying on you to be okay.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, okay, so I can't be not okay in front of them. So it's, you know, and you mentioned pets. I've just noticed out the corner of my eye, my cat's just gone past with something in its mouth. So, the fact that they're on like a kill journey at the moment. Pets are just the most incredible thing to bring us into the present moment, aren't they? Because they don't do anything other than live in the moment.
No.
So you know, if you've got animals, you know, they're going to really help you through this. They're going to be that incredible object that you're going to kind of love and be around, and they're going to just bring you into the here and now and probably bite you at the same time.
Very true. I think our cat was loving it to start with, and I actually think because everybody was around all the time, all of a sudden, and now she gets a bit more grumpy because she just wants biscuits all the time.
Yeah.
We don't equal food, you know, and I used to have a pet guinea pig that I used to, when the thing has got a bit intense in the house with the kids, to go and sit in the garden with a guinea pig and have a beer. And I tried it with the cat, and she doesn't sit still as much.
See, I think our cat is wanting us to go back to work. I think it's tired of having us around. It's like it gives us that look as if to say, when are you going? You know, like it normally has its own life. Suddenly we're like watching everything it does.
Yeah.
So they're wonderful animals in that way.
Oh, excellent. I've got one question for you. I'm going to ask at the end. So if you'd not become a psychotherapist, what would you have done with your life?
You know, when they ask you that question in school, they ask you that career question.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I remember that I answered that I wanted to be an astronaut because I knew that they couldn't send me on any further educational training for that easily. But the reality is that when I started off my career, I was actually a chef. I trained in cooking, and I gave up eating meat as part of that process and started making vegetarian food. And then I had to give up being a chef because almost back at those years, they weren't particularly interested in vegetarian chefs. And I think, to be honest, I went on and trained as a dietary therapist because I was very interested in kind of diet and mental health and physical health. I think if I could have my time again, I might have really developed being a vegetarian chef and perhaps gone down that route of like looking at mental health and food and nutrition, because it's always there kind of in the background. It's one of the things that I kind of look at and I think, oh yeah, that would have been really interesting. I didn't carry on that route, but I've stuck to my diet, which is really good, but I didn't go down that route in the end. I just don't think I was that good at it, to be honest, Paul. I like to think I might have been, but you know, you'll have to ask my partner sometime. I don't think he'd be that excited about my culinary expertise. Maybe I was better at cooking meat, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me this afternoon, and we'll paste some of the links that you mentioned earlier on, people to get some help and stuff. And lovely to talk to you. And
lovely to see you.
Catch up with you very soon.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Paul.
All right, all the best. Take care, Becky.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.